watching all the world go by now, underneath the hazy sky now. Got my ticket for the long ride. Yeah, from my park bench perspective, got that wide-eyed view on life. My park bench perspective, helping me to win the fight.
How you doing, Mike Hammer? It's been a long time since we've been on the bench.
I am wonderful, Carlos Figueroa. Yes, the bench was under construction for a moment or something like that. We were repainting it.
We're repainting it.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned very much we want to hear from more of you. We're trying to round people up for interviews. We'd love to just talk to people that lived in different parts of St. Louis Park over different eras to hear what life was like in your experience in St. Louis Park. So if you go to our Buzzsprout page, which is the link we always post, and you go to what's called fan mail, you can leave us a message. And you don't even have to do so as a fan. You can use it as hate mail if you want. But you can also leave a voicemail message. So if you'd like, that's a quick way to get on the show, is just ask us a question or tell us about your neighborhood via the voicemail.
Who are the people in your neighborhood? You remember that one?
I want to ask you what you did with the money.
The money
that you were supposed to spend on singing lessons.
Oh, I was probably saying the money I was supposed to use to pay the EMI for copyright.
Oh, you know what? Didn't even occur to you. I got a feeling that no algorithm can put that together with any actual song, so we're safe.
If I had running water, it would have sounded better.
So it's a tough day for us today, Mike. It is Mother's Day.
It is.
Yeah, I lost my mom now just about 5 years ago, and I know for you the feelings are more raw.
9 months. 9 months. And to all those mothers out there, happy Mother's Day.
Yes.
The gift of being a mother is the gift of life.
We're going to share some stories today that'll involve St. Louis Park, but this is going to be very much a mom-centric episode. And I can tell you right now, I can't talk about my mom without crying. Pardon the tears. I'll try to keep them to a minimum.
They're two-folded tears. There's tears because it happened.
Yeah.
And tears because I've said this to you and I'll say it, and this is just my take on it. People that have lost parents say, it gets easier, it gets better, and I say after no, it doesn't get better.
No.
The only way it'd be better is if my mom was here.
Yep.
But I understand how life works, and I get that she's not coming back. But that's the only way it'd be better. But what happens from the time she went to the heavens, and now as more time gets in between that, and it becomes more the normal.
Yeah.
But it's still, to this day, and you're years ahead of me on this, you all of a sudden, I got to call my mom.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, it's going to be a long-distance phone call. I don't know if anybody's going to pick up. But, and that metaphorical, to say, well, she's listening, and I do believe in the universe. I believe in that to whatever extent, because I can't not believe in it, because I can't prove it wrong. But I believe in that. But this is the biggest one-way conversation of all time.
I'll tell you what, you know it, but I'm not shy about it, but I'm a therapy guy, and so there are various things that I found useful to me. I find it very useful to talk out loud when I'm at the cemetery. And I also wrote letters to my dad and then to my mom after they passed away as just a way of getting it all out there. But as time passes, it doesn't heal. But what happens is that the tears to smiles ratio starts to change for me, because there's, as sad as it is to know my mom is not here, I still have a lifetime of memories that make me smile.
Yeah, she was in my life 60 years. Yeah. I've known her all my life.
Exactly. Yeah. And you know what? My mom knew all of the worst things that I've ever done in my life and never loved me any less. Yeah, I don't know. Gold. It's hard to find. To find in the world.
That's gold. And I know that, yes, the special days still bring tears, but just the ordinary days, you're not teared out, but you're just reflective of this is the way it is. And I guess to say I had her for 60 years is a better way of putting it.
And here's something that is a perspective that you probably don't have, because you have your own relationship with your mom. But you know your mom was a mother figure to lots and lots of our peers and your sister's peers.
Marty's peers.
And Marty's peers. Your house, similar to my house, had a reputation of being a hotel that would take in strays And I hate to say that, but your mom would take in anyone in a need and want to help out and be there for people. And that was, Judy is the poster child for just showing up. You could count on her 100%.
If there was a room, she'd say, come on in, sit down.
Yeah.
You want something to eat? And it's funny, too, she did that to my kids' friends, too. There was a number of my kids' friends that she didn't just was friendly with them. She got to know. And Grandma Judy was well known in the sports area with my kids, with whatever. But
let's talk about our moms. In addition to organizing our lives, both our moms worked. They were part of Cub Scouts, part of at all the sports. I don't know. Magically, after those Cub League baseball games, someone would fill that cooler up with Shasta soda, and I was always the moms doing that and taking care of us.
Pick a pop.
I always liked the cream soda from Shasta. That was what I would go for in the cooler.
That is one of the purest senses of a simpler time. We're going to Pick a Pop, getting those crates. I believe they were orange. And you could put 24 different pops in there.
Yeah.
Bottles, 12-ounce bottles that, I think you had to have a bottle opener. And you got to pick it out. So if you went with your family or whatever, we divided it up.
Who got so many flavors? Yep.
And that was that. But back to what they gave silently and what they
never. Listen. When you're a kid, your prefrontal cortex isn't developed, so you really don't look at shit from other people's perspectives. But I don't remember my mom ever complaining, ever.
My mom swore once when she dropped lasagna on the floor because she was having a weird nerve thing. And all of a sudden, it fell out of her hands on the floor. Me and my sister were sitting there, and she goes, shit, excuse me, real loud. And me and my sister looked at each other going, wow, we've reached a golden age here.
Yeah,
but,
wow.
My mom, she divorced early when it wasn't popular for women to get divorced because it was considered whatever. And me and my sister pushed for it. But still, being a divorced family was a misnomer. You didn't want to hang around it, but it wasn't the popular in thing to do.
You were definitely on the front edge of that, from it being something a thing to it being. What do you mean? Your parents are married and they're still together? What a weirdo! Yeah. So the world has really changed. But and the thing that me as a kid never occurred to me once is the financial strain that had to have put on your mom and you and Judy.
It was the 70s, mid to late 70s, and this was like, I kind of go the Aaron Brockovich, Norma Ray type thing where standing up for women. I didn't even know this till 10, 15 years ago. When my mom and dad bought their first house, she could not have signed for a house on her own. She could not, no. And when she bought her first car, her dad had a co-sign on it because she wasn't allowed.
I think it was 73 or 74 where women could enter contracts without their husband.
Yeah, it was
1974. We were already 10 almost when that happened. That's crazy.
It is crazy. So she went from part-time job, Avon's, singers, sewing machines, to I got to get a job and run the house. And I found at a very young age that doesn't matter how old you are, to a certain extent, you're paying rent if you're in that situation. Yeah. And it wasn't rent, it was a unit that needs to have all these things covered. Yep. So how does the unit do it? Yep. Everybody steps up and becomes part of that financial unit. Yeah. And nobody was a hero for it. It was just part of life.
But here's the thing that I will not push back on, but I want to always... It is one of the most truest statements is you never know what's going on in another human being's life. Yeah. You really don't. And trust me, you have people that are close to you right now that are living paycheck to paycheck. Thinking how they're going to get through the month is a regular calculus. So if you find yourself not in that position, call yourself thankful, because people are struggling, and there's a certain thing with my generation and prior generations of you got to be strong, you got to let show, but
pull up your bootstraps.
But you know what? Check in on your friends and family. Make sure they're okay. Help them if you can. The odds are they're not going to ask for help, but be wary of that, because a lot of that's happening right now.
Between the lines, look for the signs. Don't be intrusive. Yeah. But just if you listen, kind of close your eyes and listen. You let your not your objective part, but more of your compassion and reasoning part of your brain. Listen to what they're really saying. And it's funny when you talk about you don't really know what's going on in their head, and that happens a lot in sales. About us being in that situation, most of my life I've worked for myself, a good portion of it. And I've said all the time that I must really be comfortable with the wall.
Yeah.
Because my back's up against it
all the time.
And as time goes on, you learn that doing the things in the process and keeping a good attitude and believing, you always find a way.
Yeah.
But when you're younger, those nights where you're sleepless going, how am I going to do this? And as time goes on, you go, it just happened to my girlfriend the other day. Things happen to us where you're like, what? And I'm a big believer is positive energy out to the universe. You put the work in, you believe in it. That phone call, the message, now the text message, whatever, business-wise comes at just the right time because you didn't give in to poor me.
Yep.
You didn't give in to... Yeah. And I would like a few inches between me and the wall. Yeah. Just so a cool breeze... I don't need the wind in my sails, but a cool breeze on my back.
A little bit of breathing room would be nice.
Yeah. I don't need a big ship to come in, but a little dinghy.
Here's something I'll tell you, because you are more like my dad from a risk standpoint. My dad was always entrepreneurial, always in sales. Very much, I think, for philosophical reasons you have. I always chose the paycheck, right? I can tell you after a lifetime of working, the security you get working for a company is false. Your back is close to the wall, just like I've lost jobs because I haven't done as good a job as they wanted me to. Totally legit.
Somebody's idea.
But I know where entire divisions have been disappeared because some executive got up that day and said, yeah, let's get rid of these people. A lot of my career felt like for the companies I worked for, I was just a line item on a spreadsheet and nothing more. That doesn't mean that the frontline people that I was reporting to and stuff were like that, but the people that I have given my freedom to in order to get this security aren't given the kind of security that I was sold. And I think a young person today deciding whether to go down an entrepreneurial route or a standard corporate route or whatever routes exist now that didn't exist when we're kids, I'm not telling you what to do, but don't get too fixated on the safe corporate job because the safety...
or factory or whatever.
Yeah, or factory. Yeah, trades are wonderful until you get to be our age.
Well, they don't need you and they don't want to pay you because you've earned it. People say, I've been told, I can't do what you do. Self-employed. I hustle. Hustle's not a bad word. You're hustling. Now, you have these influencers that say you need to have side hustle.
Yeah.
What's a side hustle? When you're earning money, you're usually doing it for a purpose. To pay, put a roof over your head, to eat food, to maybe have a little enjoyment.
But the reason it doesn't seem like a side hustle to you is because your entire life has been side hustles.
But side hustle.
What people call side hustles has been, that's what you've done. You put together a life of that.
Entrepreneurial thought process where you call it a side hustle. I call it another income revenue stream.
Yeah.
And so people will say, I couldn't do that. I'm like, you basically do that. No, I don't. I go to work. I go, well, that's what I do too. But let's see, if you don't get up at your alarm, get showered or whatever, and go to work, you what? Well, I get fired. And what happens when you get fired? Well, I don't get paid. So you don't earn an income, right? So yourself has to get up, go to work, so you are employed for yourself by this company.
Yep.
I just know that I'm supposed to do the books or whatever, paperwork, that stupid stuff. But going out there, we're all self-employed. We're all trying to make money for ourselves.
The one thing that I hated in business, that in any future businesses I'm doing, I'm not going to allow myself to get into a position, but anytime you extend credit to customers, you're fucked.
That's a hard one.
Because you want the sale, right? But ultimately, if you don't get paid, you're worse off than not having the sale. And I saw that in my dad's business, our family business, a lot. And it probably led to the most headaches, right? What do you do when someone won't pay you and you gave them stuff and you were loyal to them? And they probably have 4 or 5 people that they're calling every day. Man, you got to pay me. And so I'm not making a value judgment. I'm just saying, you're putting me at risk now.
The other flip to that is don't overcredit yourself when going into business, because if you're working today to pay yesterday, you're never going to be around for, not never, but it gets tough, and that's tough to have a risk. There's a great podcast I listen to, Mel Robbins, I listen to once in a while, but it was called Luck, the Anatomy and How to Make Luck. A professor from Harvard. I'll look it up on my phone here, but it was interesting. There's emotional luck, financial luck, social luck, and spiritual luck. And luck is all based on opportunities. And I say this, I just walk around, try to, with my eyes open, because if you're disgruntled and not happy, your eyes aren't looking, seeing those opportunities. And they may be right in your face going, hey, I got some money for you. Do you want some? And you're like, I'm having a bad day. And you're like, oh. But it takes a bit to say.
You know who I think will be successful in the economy that exists after we're gone is, I think, the person that can do face-to-face sales calls.
Oh, yeah.
Because with what I'm reading about younger generations lacking confidence of even asking somebody out for a date, if you can't handle a no on a date, you're not going to handle the sales business, where you have to think of every 25 no's equals 1 yes and get used to hearing no. And so that, I think, is a skill set that is not being developed.
Taught.
And I'm sorry, but if you sell a piece of industrial equipment that's $25,000 or whatever, you're not doing that online.
My good friend Dave Drexler used to say, every no is one step closer to a yes.
Yeah.
And you know what, in sales, if you sell 1 out of 10, you might get 2 right away, and you might go 18 without, or you might go 0 for 18 and get 2 or get 4. But Barney always had it. If you look at Barney on How I Met Your Mother, he wasn't very successful at that and goes up, but he just asked them all.
Yeah. So here is what Tom Hopkins said the success of sales is, and this is terrible for a podcast, but this basically is 2 bellies together. That's what that means, 20. He says if you talk to people, 20 people a day, belly to belly, you will be successful in sales. Because so many people are like, I sent them an email, I called them. You know what? I'm not going to call them. It's like going, get in front of people. Just, you say, you know what? Luck. Oh, what's the nature of luck? Okay, let's say I am looking for a mate, okay?
Yeah.
I stay home on a Friday night. You go to a bowling alley on
Classic
a Friday.
Motor Company.
We'll say I was going to go with the Park Tavern Lanes. We'll say Park Tavern Lanes. Okay. Because they're a fine St. Louis Park establishment. Not that the Classic Motor Company wasn't, but anyways.
You spent a lot of time there.
You spend your Friday night at the Lanes. I spend the night at home. We're both looking for companionship and love. Even if we have the exact same amount of luck, your opportunities for luck increase because you're among people.
It's walking in front of you. You create your luck, and creating luck is going out and being there.
I'm not talking about being a jerk or a pickup artist or this or that, but talk to people.
No,
have a conversation with people. Ask them, hey, what do you do?
It's interesting where boys, they say 20-year-old boys, a third of them to half of them have never asked a person out in person. Asked them out physically in person.
It's all online or email.
And you're right about the sales part, because it took me a while when I was doing sales too, because when I had a product or a service that I really believed in, I knew it was good, and somebody would kind of, they don't work or that, I'd get defensive going, and I'd walk after them. But then I learned that, back to your comment earlier, you don't know what's going on. I didn't know if I was pitching it and they walked by and I didn't, and they said whatever, something. I don't know if they just found out their grandma died. Their dog died. They just went bankrupt. And so all I know is what I can control is myself, and I can do the same.
But you realize it was not a rejection of Mike Hammer.
No, it was something. And
it may have been a rejection of the business offer.
But
what you said, it probably is something that you've got no control over.
It wasn't the thing.
Yeah.
I wasn't the thing. And when I started going, okay, and just said, okay, you have a good day, I started getting people, not all the time, every once in a while, turn around, walk back. Sorry about that. I'm having a bad day. I'm like, that's good. We all have bad days. I didn't go off on your negative. I didn't know why your negative attitude, but you came back. So I know all I can do is be me. And in sales too, the interesting part about it is there's a process. And there's salespeople that always want to be closing without opening. And there's also people that know how to open and explain it, don't know how to ask for the money.
Yeah.
And it all becomes part of it. And if you feel like your service or your product is worth it, it's hard to say, but learn how to ask for the worth.
Yeah.
If you are a tradesman, don't cut corners and say, I'll do this for free. No, I earned my skill. Pay me. And
ask for the sale. You get the sale. Ask for the referrals.
Yeah.
Ask.
Well,
ask because if you do not ask, the chance of them saying yes is 0.
Yeah, and they're not going to put it out there. And here's when I deal with people, I'm like, if it's a good deal for both sides, it's a good deal. If it's a good deal for one and not the other, it's a shit deal.
Yeah.
And if you're the one that it's a better deal for, karma's going to come back and get you. It happens. People don't have to believe in it. And but it's
you can screw people for only so long, but people do get fed up.
The reason the karma gets you is because you teach yourself traits to get more for you than what you're giving, and you create that's what I'm worth, and it's a false representation of what your service.
I can't remember what website I was on. I was looking at tickets for something. I don't know what it was. It might have been a minor league baseball team. But the entire website was like, here is the price of your ticket with taxes and fees and everything else. Right up front.
TickPick?
I don't know what it was, but it was like going, that's so awesome. Just why don't airlines do that? Why don't just tell me what the goddamn price is? Don't tell me what the darn price is, because I just want to know to be able to make an apples to apples comparison. You do it like that so no one can really figure out you're ripping us off.
Yeah. It was funny, and it happened during the pandemic, and now everywhere you go, they flip the screen around, and you have to choose not to tip. And it tells Randy at Whole Foods when he doesn't want to give to the starving kids, whatever, but you're forced to. And a little trick, pay in cash.
Yep.
Then that option for you to want to leave $1 in the tip jar is on you, but you don't have to do that guilty no tip, because it doesn't say no tip. It doesn't ask you, would you like to leave a tip? It says 15, 20, 25, so up to 30. You're like,
no. And then, it starts at 20, 25 now.
When you go to the meat market, it starts at 15.
And then it'll say 25. Okay.
But
you know what? Bite me. Okay.
But the part about it is, and I don't always blame the employee, because that system was put into place by the manager or the owner when the business merchant company comes there that does the exchange of the credit card or money in your bank. They come with this. Here's a new feature on here. And
this is good. The employees will love it.
You'll sell it that the employees will love it. But what it is, Mr. Ownerman or Mrs. Ownerman, your employees won't bitch about what they're making, because you're forcing the customer to pay them more, instead of the restaurants that did it during the pandemic. That put a cook fee on there. We already mentioned one of the names, but put a cook fee on there, and then other things, and then you're paying for your employees' insurance. I want them to be insured. But here's the deal. You reflect the money you need to run your business in the price of my burger. And then I can make a decision if I agree to pay for it. But don't say, well, you got to pay a cook fee. How the hell? Why didn't I just stay home? Will you come over to my house and make it? If I'm paying for your cook, and I know it's not whatever, but it's like, this is a sneaky way of the financial system. The owner's going, I pay you less and make more. And the restaurant industry, the margins are so slim now because...
And they're getting raped by the delivery services, and it is a very hard time for that business. But you and I are so far off a field, I want to get back.
We got back to mothers. We got to go back to mothers.
So I do not know the answer for you, but for me, I am my mother's child. I was frustrated the most by my mom growing up, and it wasn't until I was in my 40s that I realized I was frustrated by her so much, because she's just like me. And my dad was my hero, or this and that. And my dad and I are very different people. It was my mom. It was just, and I see all the good things in my mom, and I'm happy that I got those. And sometimes empathy can be a double-edged sword, because it can get you all wound up. But I think I got work ethic from my dad too. We're a combination of our parents, but I see myself very similar. So I'm kind of curious. And this may be hard for you, and you may not be ready for this. And if you want to pass, you can. But how do you see yourself? What do you see of Judy in you?
It's not hard for me, because there's the compassion, caring about each and every person, for real. I would get frustrated with my mom because she was very passive.
Yeah.
And I knew that with my dad. He was overbearing, whatever.
Yeah.
And she was passive. Let's just,
Peacemaker.
Be good, but toe the line, do whatever.
Yeah.
And I'd get frustrated. Later on in life, I'd get frustrated. Go ask your boss for more. You show up every day. You never say, you're worth more. Go ask your boss for a raise or I'm going to do it. And she'd be like, no, it's okay. And I'm like going, I stopped getting frustrated. I'm just like, okay.
So a lot of that is cultural too, because my mom never drove.
Yeah.
Couldn't have shut off the water or the gas at our house if her life depended on it. Wasn't the payer of the bills or any of that. It was very much a traditional, and so that was not uncommon for women to be trained to be passive in that generation.
Yeah.
But you're right. It frustrated me because I saw my mom not
fall in line.
One of the things that Mike and I are talking about is doing a podcast, a completely new podcast on what it's like as your parents get older.
And you become...
And one example that I'm going to use as a preview is both my mom and dad did this. There would be a problem. We would get them to go to the doctor. I would arrange to be at the doctor's appointment. How you doing, Maria? Oh, I'm just fine.
They lie.
I'm just fine. And it's like, oh, no. We're not playing please the doctor. We're playing tell the doctor what's been happening when you're not here so he can make it better. Yeah. But every time, oh, I'm doing great. Never better, doc. I'm like, no.
We made fun of my mom. How's it going, Mom? I'm fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. I'm okay. That's okay. It's raining out, but that's okay.
Yeah.
And we always but that's okay. And it wasn't her world. You just wanted the phone call, to hear her voice. And you talked about the things with your mom and the letters you wrote. I just, real quick back to that. I still have hundreds of voicemails from my mom.
Oh, don't erase them ever.
I'm going to put them on.
I'll show you how to put them on a desk.
But
let's do that next time I come.
It's interesting for my whole family because every birthday she sang. Aww. And we got to the point years ago we would let it always go through the voicemail because she'd sing it on voicemail. And not just the beginning, the whole song. Aww. And this year people are going, for their first birthday without her, I missed that phone call. But I got others to listen back to from 24, from 18, from whatever. Aww. And that the things that the past, her passive, her acceptance of everybody taught my kids a lot of just accept people who
they're just so tough. I have a very specific memory when Marty was in the ER and things were really touch and go, and I'm sitting next to Judy and I'm like, honey, Judy, you and I did this a few years ago with Mike, and he goes, yeah, just like with, it's one of the things. I'm like, no, Judy, no, your kids are bringing you through too much. This isn't normal, man. It's okay for you to be a little freaked out. And she's, no,
that was tough with Marty because it was
that
unrecognizable. The coma, the induced coma, the amount of time and the intensive care.
I will, as long as I live, never forget going in with you that first day and having you talk to him, and the way you talk to him, it brings tears to my eyes right now because the love in your voice as you talk to your brother, and obviously nobody knows whether he heard you or not. That was just one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen, man. It really is.
I remember calling him Pumpkinhead because his head was the size of a pumpkin, and it was tough, but he was kind of like, I think that's a defense mechanism where you kind of play, we're going to get through this, okay, let's talk it through. But anybody else who saw him, his head was the size of a good Halloween pumpkin. And because of all the what they had to put on his head to cut it off, it was orange.
Yeah.
And when the real hard part was, quick segue, and this is where I watched my mom hold it together like most passive people won't.
Yep.
So when I got the phone call from my mother saying, Marty's been in an accident, but they don't think it's that bad. He was in his truck. He's going to HCMC. I was at home in Somerset. My kids were young. And I'm like, okay. So I'm changing. It was 10, 11 in the morning. I'm changing my, okay, Marty's in the hospital, got in an accident, not that big a deal. No, you don't think of it. Then I'm like going, they didn't give much information. So I call up HCMC.
Yeah.
And I said, there's somebody in the emergency room there named Marty Hammer. And they're like, correct. And he said, could you give me the update? She said, sir, I don't advise you to speed,
But get here right away.
But get here as fast as you can.
Oh, wow.
So then I remember, I'm like, well, how do you tell your mom? Okay, you know, that phone call you got wasn't, Marty's been in a little fender bender.
Oh, man.
And I didn't know what it was exactly, but I remember calling my sister, and she's, I'm sitting down at the dentist's office. I go, you can't.
Yeah.
Marty's life is on the line.
Yeah.
Call your mother and say, don't give her a reason why you're going there. Just say, well, let's go check up on Marty. But they just basically said it's dire.
Oh, my God.
So I remember, luckily we had a cool neighbor. They had kids, and like she was over there. She goes, "I'll take the kids," and me and my wife, we left.
Yeah.
And we drove. And I remember it was at the emergency room there, in the emergency parking lot. I guess I left the car running and the door open. I went in, and my mom, my sister were there, and they were just going down with the chaplain. And we go in the room, and I'm like, and he starts talking. The doctors have done everything they can.
Oh, my God.
They're doing this and that, and we're going,
no.
And all of a sudden he goes, but he's being rushed up to emergency surgery. And I looked at him, I go, sir, I don't want to tell you how to do your job. But you
bury the fucking lead, man.
You preferenced everything in past tense.
Yeah.
And I'm watching my mom stoic, not crying, and I'm like going. So it was many days of sitting there going, we don't think he's going to make it, or the chances are slim. But I don't know. He was a fighter. He pulled through, and
you know, it did not end where anybody wanted. You did get lots of years together.
we got some extra. It was tough. Yeah. The psyche, the things he went through. It was. So if you didn't know him before, you wouldn't know anything different. But he came back about 90% mentally, and it was still a crux that.
You know what though. I realized that it had changes, had an effects on him, but in a way, he was a lot of the same old Marty. I remember just happened to be in a bar in Denver for a Vikings game, and over another table, there's Marty, and it was the same old Marty, and he was happy and stuff. But
just laugh, my kids. He was the fun uncle.
Yeah.
Crack your toes if he was sitting there hanging out over the couch or something. And the way he laughed, and the things he did for my kids and my sister's kids, but I was 5.5, 6 years older, so I know this doesn't want us. I don't want to sound patting myself on the back, but I was his hero to a certain extent. He was mine. Yeah. But for different reasons. I was the big brother, and I looked out for him. Probably should have a little bit more, but we lived at a time where you got to do what you got to do. And
as I've told you a million times, I play the game as well, but there is zero chance to live life backwards. Yeah. The best you can do is say, okay, going forward, I know better not to do X, but you can't beat yourself up for not doing X when you didn't know.
Yep, you didn't know that. You never know it's going to be the last time.
Yep.
Yep. And at the end, I just knew the pain he was going through, and that's for another discussion about.
This has been a tough episode, but a personal one that I value this conversation with you because I know and love you and your family. But let's take another chance to shout out to all the moms out there. But the world would not be the beautiful place it is if it wasn't for the moms.
And your mom, I love doing her voice. I don't know if I'm close enough. Yeah. Carlito, Michael is here.
Yeah. I'm gonna close out this episode with a Maria story using the language.
And just let me one thing before.
Yeah, go ahead.
She was like one of the moms that you just like my mom to you that you could walk up and ask her anything and not feel embarrassed, put out or putting them out. You could just walk up and say hi, and it was one of those reassuring, I got you type parent friend. Someone you loved doing something because the respect and the care and the love was reciprocated. But
I think one of the things that you and I have talked about our moms is you get a lot of calls as the older, and they're lonely. They're lonely and they're bored. And so one time I get a call from my mom. This was after my dad died, and she says, about 2 in the afternoon, she says, "Hi, how are you? Hello, Cassie, this is your mother." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, Mom. I try something new." I'm like, "What's that, Mom?" "I tried to no call you to see if you call me." I'm like, "Okay." "You did not call me." I'm like, "Mom, I'm sorry. I'm at work. I've been busy. I was going to call you after work." "It's okay." I'm like, "No, Mom, I love you, and I promise I'll call you when I get a chance after work." You know I'm not as important as all the important things you do. I'm like, Mom, no, that's not what I'm saying. But anyways, I love her to death. I miss you, Mom. If the world works out in a way I get to spend time with you again, that would be amazing.
If you hear me say not today,
yeah,
and I don't want to end a story after your story, but I gotta, not today became popular in my family, whatever, sister, nephews, niece, girlfriend, whatever, because a while ago, about a year before my mom died, she said to me, we were talking, she goes, I don't want to die in my sleep. And I sit and I pause and I'm like, a lot of people think that would be the preferred way to go. Just go to bed, not wake up. And she goes, okay, well.
But not today.
Yeah, but I understand that, but not today. Okay. I go, okay, so you want to die in your sleep, but not today, not tonight? She's like, yes. I'm like, so we'll fight. And she's like, yes. I go, so toward the end, it happened, especially my sister, my daughter, who was home because of a work injury, but she's in the healthcare field and stuff. Kind of they were best little buddies, but she'd also, the other side of putting the nurse's hat on or whatever. And so she'd walk in, and I said it, but my daughter would say it more, Grandma, not today. And my mom would go, not today. And we're like, okay, we're going to fight. And
oh my God, that's a beautiful story.
One day, she said, why not?
No.
And 2 days later, she was dead.
Oh my goodness.
Passed.
Oh,
but
man.
They're the best. They're the best.
Much love to all the moms. Much love to Judy. Much love to Maria. I think it's Hammer and Carlos.
Out.
Watching all the world go by now, underneath a hazy sky now. Got my